So imagine, you've just finished that important meeting and you walk out to your car. But something has changed in your life, because when you reach the parking lot, you arrive at 3.5 million rands worth of gleaming sports car metal. You reach into your pocket, take out the keys, press the button, and it lights up like the Starship Enterprise. You open the door as everybody watches, and expensive air escapes onto the pavement. That's when you lower yourself down into a world of leather and luxury and technology. Because your sports car will drive itself, it'll park itself, and it'll even massage you while you go. You know you've arrived when even your car is willing to touch you indecently. And you think back about what's changed over the course of your life that you have become such a captain of industry. What's altered in your existence that you can afford something like this without even thinking about it? 3.5 seconds, 0 to 100, 3.5 million. And you trace the change back to one decision that you made today. And it's the call to position yourself as a top name expert in your industry by design. No one else in your industry makes this choice. We work to varying levels to achieve varying degrees of success, but very few people will, by design, become a top name thought leader. When you think about it, in any industry on earth, regardless of whether it's sports, music, business, economics, pick your field, journalism, one or two names will always rise to the top. And it's an incredibly powerful dynamic. If I say something like bodybuilding, no matter where I am, anywhere around the world, my audiences will shout out the first name that springs to mind, and it's always going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. If I say daytime TV talk shows, it'll be Oprah. And if I throw out an industry like cooking, you'll get the Nigellas or the Gordon Ramsays of the world. Now, what's interesting to us is that in each of these cases, these individuals, these brands at the top of an industry, are not necessarily technically the most proficient at what they do. I love Nigella Lawson's show. My wife and I watch it all the time, arguably for different reasons, but we watch it all the time. And Nigella is certainly not the world's most qualified chef. She's probably not in the top 10 of the world's most qualified chefs. But the question for us today is, why is she out-earning all of them combined? There is equity in being the big name in your industry. So the question for us becomes, how do you position yourself as the top iconic thought leader in whatever it is that you do? What's different about these top names, and how do you become one by design? But first, we need to ask a different question, which is, why bother? Because frankly, I am inviting you to do a lot more work than most people in your industry will ever bother to do. Most people focus on what they do within their job and rarely zoom back and look at the greater industry as a whole. And as I said before, very few people will make the conscious choice to become a top name expert by design. So what's in it for you? Why should you bother? Well, I believe that there are at least 3 reasons why it's worth your while to become the top name expert. The first and most obvious one is that experts earn exponentially more. Take a Jeremy Clarkson in the world of motoring. How many motoring journalists are there around the world? Why did Clarkson out-earn them on such a great scale? He wasn't earning double what your average motoring journalist earned. He wasn't earning 10 times as much. It was on the order of 100 times and more. And he was working with the same raw materials. It's the new cars that come out every week. So being the top name expert is worth a great deal of equity. The second reason it's worth your while is perhaps a little more noble. If you've ever mentored, taught, or coached another individual, or if you've raised children, you'll know how deeply rewarding it can be to teach somebody something that they didn't know before. You have that incredible moment where the penny drops, the lights go on, and it's as though their universe has become just a little bigger. Now, as a thought leader in an industry, you get to do that on a massive scale. Instead of being a small cog in a system reacting to the world around you, you become one of the voices driving where your entire industry is going. And you can do that on a regional level, a national level, or even a global level. So it is deeply rewarding to be a big name, a thought leader, and an icon in your industry. That's the second reason it's worth your while. The third reason, and this one is perhaps of the greatest interest to us here today, is that it radically overhauls how you go about your sales and marketing efforts. Let me explain what I mean by that one. I first noticed this one day when I was working from my office at home. The phone rings, I pick it up, and a person says, "Someone told us you're the person to talk to." And I thought, that's wonderful. That's the sort of thing any entrepreneur wants to hear. I put the meeting into my diary, put the phone down, and 20 minutes later, the phone rings again. It's another person calling from another company that I've never marketed to and have no prior contact with. And they use the same phrase. Someone said, "You're the person to talk to." Now, the second time I put the phone down in my office, the mood changed completely. It went from that initial jubilation, yay, new business, to, hang on a second, how did that happen? And how do I make that happen over and over again on purpose and by design? Because wouldn't you agree, it's a best case scenario when you don't have to tap people on the shoulder one by one, but instead the business starts coming to you. We want to make sure that you are the name at the end of the sentence. You know who you should talk to about that. And expert positioning is how we go about doing it. Instead of tapping people on the shoulder one by one and trying to make one sale at a time, you become the icon, the big name. You become the guru on the hillside and the crowds come to you. So how do we make that happen for you? Well, the benefits are it causes you to earn exponentially more. It makes you a thought leader, which is rewarding, and the business starts coming to you. There are practical ways we can go about doing that in your world.